Hello, and welcome back to the next episode in our Pillars of Eternity campaign, playing as Kasemir the Cipher. We're picking up here in the Copper Lane Catacombs of Defiance Bay. We've cleared out most of this area. We just need to clear out this last little bit to the north.
Sure.
So that's what we're going to go and do, but first we need to rest, because if Durance gets knocked out again, he will die permanently. So let's just camp here. Should I damage versus flanked? Yeah, I guess I'll leave her with damage versus flanked. The rest can just have damage reduction. I'll just rest there quickly. Get everyone back to fighting strength.
Animancy seems to be the topic of the hour here. You've closer dealings with souls than I do. What do you think of it?
The Animancers have bungled their research time and time again, and it's always innocent people who suffer for it. Yeah, I think it's incredible that we hold such power over our own souls. I mean, that's true. It is, isn't it? Afflictions of the soul, treated as one might a broken limb. Who knows? We may see the dawn of a golden age. But let's deal with the age we're in for now. After you, my friend. Okay.
Steady does it.
Alright, we should stealth around just in case there's traps or hidden loot. I guess we'll go this way first. Hillig of Thane. Revenant. A lone figure in tattered robes shuffles across the chamber, muttering under its breath. As you approach, the figure halts and swivels its head toward you. Its haggard visage is a labyrinth of wrinkles and sores overgrown by a moss-like beard. "What's this? Who disturbs Hellig's work?" Its voice rattles and gurgles like that of a drowning man. I was just exploring the catacombs. The figure aims a gnarled finger at the door. "Then go, and thank your gods I'm not hungry. If there's nothing else, be on your way." "You're Hellig? Dalton sent me to look for Rowena." He leans back and bursts into raucous laughter. His threadbare robes drift apart, revealing an amulet, and a ragged wound running from chest to throat. It spatters a black, viscous fluid on the floor with every cackle. "That old fool is still alive? I do hope he still doesn't bear a grudge for that incident. It was so very long ago." You may want to get that looked at." "What, this?" He points a gnarled thumb at the wound. "A long story. I was one of the first animancers in the Deerwood. Practiced necromancy, too, which is what put Dalton and his Northwatch Rangers on my trail." He cackles, making a wet, burbling sound. "What can you tell me about Dalton?" "Only that it's a miracle, or a joke, of the gods that he's still alive." He picks a bloodied crust from his beard. "The only thing he loved more than his fetching lieutenant was the idea of his own legend." He said you killed Rowena and the rest of the Northwatch Rangers." "Did he mention that they hunted me down like a rabid dog?" He adjusts his moth-eaten robes. "I just wanted to continue my studies. Attitudes towards animancy were not what they are now, and necromancers have never met with much acceptance. But they're corpses now, and so am I. Surely that's all well enough behind us." Well, do you know where Rowena is?" He seems to restrain another bout of chuckling. "Oh, you could say that. If you were to retrieve my grimoire from Modred, I'll let you in on the secret." "What if I just beat the secret out of you?" He smirks. "You could try, but then you'll just end up dead." Alright, well, what do you need me to do? When animancy started gaining popularity, I came to Defiance Bay in hopes of finding a place where my research would meet with more acceptance. Worked at the Brackenberry Sanitarium for a few months when I met Modred. He spits a glob of black blood on the floor. Let's just say Modred and I didn't see eye to eye. Got so bad we were threatening to kill each other on a daily basis. Obviously that bastard made good on his threat. He runs a jagged fingernail along his oozing wound. Sank a dagger into my chest while I was sleeping and dumped my body in the catacombs. Well, you look pretty good for a dead man. I'd preserved my mind and my memories with Engwithan magic and a few timely preparations. He looks at his rotting hands. Yet now my soul is anchored to this decaying husk. His claw-like hands clench into fists. Modred stole the life from me and left me with this wrecked corpse and this craving. He clutches at his stomach and glances at you hungrily, but only for a second. Modred keeps all that is precious to him in a trunk in his laboratory, just as he stole my grimoire. He offers you a key with a claw-like hand. On your way to Brackenberry Sanitarium, then, bring me my grimoire and my revenge, and you can have your Rowena. He chokes on a burbling chuckle. Well, anyway, what are you doing down here? Research. A hodgepodge of animancy and necromancy. I have peace and quiet as well as an abundant supply of subjects. And what are those creatures behind you? Just a few personal projects. Sorry souls stuck in their mortal shells. Their flesh is as dead as mine, though their minds are not as well maintained. They flock to me like worms to drakes. They're not half as intelligent, but... He watches as one stumbles into a desk. They serve for amusement. Okay, farewell. So we've got to go to Brackenberry. A grim assortment of rusty blades adorns this table. This creature appears to have suffered horrific burns. Its skin is blackened, and its limbs have melted and fused. It plods stubbornly across the room. Hello? The creature does not seem to register your words. Let's shove it. The creature's skin is unpleasantly yielding. It rocks slightly on its feet, and then continues on its path. Stop that! I need those poor wretches for menial chores. I'll leave it be. What about this one? The left side of this creature's skull has been caved in. Its burial shroud has since tangled about its torso and neck. It stares blankly forward, mindless of your presence. The creature does not respond. Let's poke it in the head. You get a grotesque squishing noise for your efforts. The creature does not respond. Stop that! I need those sorry wretches for menial chores. Tarnished locket. This silver locket is dented and tarnished. A faded portrait of a young nobleman still rests inside. His face has been worn away by time.
I'll see what I can find.
The scattered, feverish notes detail various animantic procedures and rites of necromancy. Dust and cobwebs have been swept aside for various alchemical implements. Though coated with rust and grit, they look recently used.
Something.
And we discovered a hidden cache here with rites of youthful spirits. Don't think there's anything else around here. Alright, what if we poke this one? This creature's neck juts sideways at an unnatural angle, and there are rope burns at its throat and wrists. It suffers occasional spasms as it moves about the room. Hello? The creature does not seem to hear you. I'll leave it alone. Otherwise Helig might get away in. Oh, the left side of this screen. After a few moments, the creature suddenly turns its head towards you. It makes a low wheezing sound, and reaches towards you, towards the locket you carry. Is this yours? The creature takes the locket loosely between its broken, half-rotted fingers. It wheezes out another reeking gust of air, and then goes still once more. Pah! It'll be useless now, until it drops the damn thing again. No sense in pining after things long lost, I say. But then, it has lost half its mind, eh? Interesting. So they have some memory of things that matter to them. Did you find my grimoire? Not yet. Don't come back until you have it. Alright. Let's,
Steady does it.
get out of here. I think we've cleared everything in here. We won't go down to the Temple of Wodika just yet. I think we should explore the rest of Defiance Bay as much as we can first. So there's still quite a bit to see. But we'll go back up top here. We cleared all that, so we're good. Alright. Viscous, foul-smelling sludge ebbs in the trench.
You've been on your own for 5 years,
I've had Ijamak.
but you can't talk to him.
My standards changed around year 2.
Alright. Now, I think the guy that we were exploring the catacombs for, I think he was around this way. Yeah, there he is. Dalton. How's it going, Dalton?
Welcome.
Did you find her? I'm still searching. Alright, so we can't report into him. So I guess the next question is... Oh, actually, let's look at our stronghold. Paid some hireling wages. And... I don't have any companions to assign to either of these. And that's still got 2 days to go. That's alright. Okay. How do we go to the world map again? There it is. So so we're in Copper Lane. We can go to First Fires, Brackenbury, Ondra's Gift. I think let's go to First Fires next. I'm pretty sure we explored all of these. So, from memory, we did everything up here and then went into the catacombs. Igran's weapons are decent, but nothing compared to what we make at First Fire's Keep. Alright, well, anyway, let's go to First Fires. It's going to take 15 minutes. Okay, do you have anything to say? Joining the Crucible Knights is a high honor.
Keeping quiet.
St. Giron's Horn. Not a lot going on here. The stones of this ancient tower have been blackened by centuries-old fires, surrounded by a patch of wild flowers. It looks like a memorial. I've got some backer NPCs there. So that goes to the Ducal Palace. The Valian Embassy and Ondra's gift.
All these circling feet heading nowhere.
Alright, the Valian Embassy, and that's another backer NPC. Let's have a look in here.
This looks like the place Maywald described.
Oh, okay, I see. Praise.
Praise to the exiled queen. May her crown be restored and her justice prevail. Come to pay your respects to the queen that was.
A ghost hovers in the middle of the ruin, reciting blessings and prayers. Even as the spirit's form shifts and swirls, it retains the face of an elderly man and robes that mark wealth and status. It turns to you. Who are you?
Lord Ardwellen Rugfold III, and pleased to make your acquaintance. I came to the Deerwood on one of the first ships from Adia, and unlike the yokels and hut dwellers around here, I still keep to the old ways.
His cloudy eyes swim with resentment. It's truly a pity to see what the locals have done to Woodica's house of worship. What are you doing?
Worshipping Woodica, the exiled queen and oathbinder. I come every day to offer my devotion. I'd love nothing more than to book passage back to Adia, but it is my Emperor's wish that I serve in these barbaric lands. And so I do.
His expression fades into confusion, and he shrugs. You know you're a ghost, right?
I beg your pardon? Is this some sort of joke where you come from?
No, I'm serious, just look at yourself.
A madhouse. That's what this town really needs.
He closes his eyes and massages his temples with wispy fingers. I'd like to know more about Woodica.
A queen among the gods. She oversees laws and oaths. Everything has a rightful place, and Woodica watches over them all.
The ghost's hazy features sharpen with delight.
Of course, not everyone accepts this. Even among the other gods, her authority is questioned. But Woodica is also goddess of memory and vengeance, and she remembers. She'll remember every slight and trespass when she reclaims her throne.
The ghost's expression churns, and he slowly nods. I was told I'd find the Temple of Woodica here.
And so you did. These savage colonists may have burned it down, but worship of the Oathbinder is alive and well. These stairs lead to the main sanctum.
The ghost's misty visage contorts in a scowl. What stairs?
These stairs, of course. The sanctum was always below ground, adjacent to the catacombs, so it wasn't destroyed by the fires.
The ghost gestures to an impassable pile of rubble. Like the rest of the ruin, it seems to have remained untouched for over a century. Well, tell me where I'd find an entrance to the catacombs.
There are various entrances throughout Defiance Bay, but I dare say the easiest to reach is in Copper Lane. I haven't been to that part of town in ages, but as I recall, it's somewhere near the southern gate.
Alright, well we've already been there, so that's easy. Goodbye. Can we talk to him again? Yeah, we can. But he doesn't have anything else to say. Weeds grow thick and full, untroubled by the passage of kith.
Slow and silent.
Let's have a poke around, see if there's any hidden caches in here. So that's the stairs that are blocked by rubble. And this was the Temple of Woodica. I didn't remember that, I didn't remember that Merwald said that the temple was in First Fires. maybe it's in here. Merriwald was in the dungeons of his own keep. He cautioned you that you may share his condition. Seek out the leaden key. No, it doesn't say. He must have said something about a temple, but I don't remember. It was a while since I moved house recently, so it's been a while since I played Pillars of Eternity. So I don't quite remember what Merriwald had said. But he must have hinted towards a keep. Sorry, hinted towards a temple in First Fires. Won't be long before we're a formal knighthood. Okay. What's this? This is the Crucible Keep.
Keeping quiet.
Okay, we can investigate that. Valiant Embassy we should investigate as well, but let's have a look up this way first.
Nice and quiet.
Ravadavdur.
Let's see what lies this way.
Keeping an eye out.
That goes towards Heritage Hill. Okay. House Dominel still thinks it's the law in the city. And that is a side entrance, presumably, to the palace. Dunstan's as gifted an armourer as you'll find in the entire city. Okay.
Politics, infighting, greed, and a shrine to Margaret as well. Her clergy belongs there.
I think let's visit the Valian. Or maybe we should visit the Crucible Knights first, given that we already spoke to the dozens. Let's see what these guys have to say. Justicia Aldmar. What business brings you to the keep?
Hail and well met.
Aldmar gives you an appraising eye. Judging by the scars on his face, he's lucky to be able to do that much. Every day we get more from the hinterlands pouring into Defiance Bay. Keeps us busy on the watch, it does. You look like you're recently arrived yourself. Who are you? A soldier of the Crucible Knights, and proud of it. I help keep everything running at the keep, so that Commander Claver can focus on more important matters. Looking for something, or just knocking the dirt off your boots? What goes on in Crucible Keep? This is the headquarters of the Crucible Knights, so it's where we store arms and armor, as well as where many of our soldiers bunk. Commander Cleaver's in the back, making plans, as usual. He scratches a scarred cheek. You'll find the forge at the west end of the building, along with our master smith, Dunstan. There's also a shrine to the golem, if you're the praying type. And what can you tell me about the Crucible Knights? We're the defenders of Defiance Bay. We're not exactly a formal knighthood, but don't tell Commander Cleaver that. That I said that. He grins. We were the first organized militia to oppose Adiran rule, and today we're the largest force in the city. Our soldiers undergo years of combat training, and our officers are required to have their souls read by that critter out in Dunred Row. What's this about Dunred Row? Just a requirement of the Crucible Knights, so the higher-ups know there's nothing messy built in your soul's past. Alma widens his stance. Keeping the ranks pure is fine by me. I just wish they were more careful in hiring their ciphers. What's wrong with their ciphers? He shifts his weight and glances at the empty halls. They're mostly Orlans. I'm sure they're talented enough, but you just can't trust them. Hostility's in their nature, and they've learned to hide it over the years. He frowns and crosses his arms. All I'm saying is they should at least be supervised by other folk. That's reasonable enough, isn't it? Yeah, I've worked with Orlans in the past. I think they're alright. Seems like an extreme position to take. I think it's a pretty horrible thing to say, but I'm just gonna disagree. You're wrong. Aldmar shrugs. I'm just speaking the truth. Nowadays, it seems, that's the biggest crime of all. Oh yeah, okay, sure you are, buddy. Alright, that's all I have to ask. Hopefully your views aren't representative of the Crucible Knights as a whole. We defended Defiance Bay back in Duke Hardret's day. We're the greatest fighting force in all of the Deerwood.
Slow and silent.
Cool. Needed some camping supplies anyway, so that's convenient.
I've got it. Finished.
I hope I get promoted to Justiciar soon. Tongues of flame lick at the forge, hissing with smoke as hot as a dragon's breath. Tongs, hardies, hammers, fullers, and punch tools hang from the wall. They feel heavy and sturdy, but their flame-darkened surfaces testify to frequent use. Alright, well, let's speak to Dunstan.
If this is about the breastplates, I already told Cleaver they won't be repaired till next week.
The dwarf bustles between a sweltering forge fire and a work table. He wipes one muscle-knotted arm across his brow. What do you do here? It's not about the breastplates, by the way, but what do you do here?
I'm a forge master. I'm a master smith for the Crucible Knights. But the way I see it, I'm also keeping up with our old traditions. The first members of our order were smiths. Nowadays, most everyone's a professional soldier. I suppose it's to be expected, but I think it's important we keep up with our roots, too.
He hefts a hammer in one hand. Something else on your mind? Tell me about the knights.
We were all smiths back in Hodred's day, though I'm about the only one here who still gets his hands dirty. We're a fearsome fighting force, though these days I think Cleaver takes more pride in our parade formations.
He laughs. He thinks himself a progressive man, but he's obsessed with soul lineages and connections to the Deerwood's heroes of old. He picks up his hammer again. Other than Dunred Rowe, who really knows about any of that, though? I found several fragments of an ancient sword. Do you think you could repair it? Dunstan gives a low whistle. That's a fine blade indeed. He holds one fragment in his rough hands. Looks Adiran. Special made. Must have been a commission for a champion of some sort. He hands the shard back to you. A sword of this caliber would have had a specially designed hilt, too. It would be a shame to graft anything else onto it, and besides, it'll balance best with all of the original pieces. You find the rest of it, and I'll forge it for you. Okay, alright. Thank you. Goodbye. Doesn't look like we can buy anything from him, unfortunately. Penhelm and some more justiciars. Struggle and strife forge our spirit into a sharp weapon, and the blades of the swords on that rack are razor sharp. We're responsible for the safety of every person in the city. Okay. Penhelm.
Hail, traveler.
The young novitiate's armor is recently shined, and his hair is clean and neatly combed. It's hard to believe he's ever seen battle, or that the scarred antique breastplate he wears could possibly be his. Are you looking for something? Yeah, tell me about the Knights of the Crucible. We're the primary defenders of Defiance Bay. The Order's founders were the first to rally for Deerwooden independence. He waves his hand. Of course, that's ancient history now. Now we're the most prestigious company of soldiers in the Deerwood. It's a glorious line of work. He scrunches up his nose. If you can forget about the barracks, that is. Was there anything else? How does someone become a knight? We don't take just anyone. Our members share soul legacies with the very men and women who defended this land a century and a half ago. He shifts his weight and coughs. Anyhow, Commander Cleaver is responsible for initiations, but he rarely accepts foreigners. Okay, and does the name Osric sound familiar? He sniffs. If you've got any self-respect, you won't associate with him, or with any of his new friends at the Expedition Hall, for that matter. Scamps and delinquents, the lot of them. What's the story between you two? Osric has always held some controversial opinions, but they went overlooked for the longest time because his family has such an extensive history of service in the Crucible Knights. He frowns and crosses his arms. He finally went too far. He had the gall to suggest that we had strayed too far from our roots, that some of our officers were beginning to resemble Adira nobility. He rubs the spot on his bracer with a silk handkerchief. He would have us all wear rough-spun and fight with forge hammers. I merely reported his statements. I don't see the problem with his comments, yeah. He sputters. People change. Organizations change. The Crucible Knights began as a militia of blacksmiths, but Dunstan's one of the only officers who can wield a hammer these days. We're professional soldiers. Isn't that who you want defending a city? Besides, a novitiate has no business maligning his superiors. Blacksmiths. Always a bit of a tongue twister, that word. Okay. What if I think that the history is what made the Knights what they are now? You can't just cast it aside. We've outgrown that past. He waves a shining gauntlet. Sometimes you need to move on. Sagani frowns. Outgrown it like an old sealskin coat? You adapt with the times, sure, but that's a bit naive. Alright, and what if I agree with you? If the Knights obsessed over their past, they wouldn't have grown into the fighting force they are today. Penhelm nods. I quite agree, and that's why Osric has no place here. Alright, well, is that his breastplate you're wearing? It was. He looks down and admires it. It became property of the Crucible Knights when he was discharged. Now it's mine, and it's not for sale, if that's what you're wondering. Not every day you find armor that was used in the rebellion. Okay, well, he says your affidavit is a forgery. Just what would he know about that? It's perfectly convenient for him to cast aspersions. What with his pedigree in the Knights? He folds his arms and blinks at you. It's a lie, of course, as should be perfectly obvious to someone as logical as you. Alright, well, enough about Osric. On that we can agree. Farewell, Penhelm. So, I wonder if we should go back and speak to Osric. Osric believes that Penhelm's affidavit is a forgery. Find his affidavit somewhere in the Crucible Keep. Alright.
I'll see what I can find.
Just have a look around as well. So that's the forge room. That's the barracks. That goes to the war room, Shrine of Abaddon, training room. We haven't been in the training room, nor in the archives.
I'll get it open. I've got it. Finished. I've got it. Finished.
Nice.
I'll get it open. Finished. I've got
Very
it.
nice.
Finished.
Okay. What's in this room? Thick grime cakes the bottom of the tub. The towels hanging from the side give off an awful stench. House Dominel still thinks it's the law in the city. Don't know who these House Dominel folks are, but I'm keen to find out. This is a record of active patrols and reported crimes in Ondra's Gift. The latter far outnumber the former. Penhelm's affidavit. Curran, a cipher duly appointed and employed by Dunred Row, does hereby certify that Novitiate A.M. Penhelm has been found to have a soul free of any subversive influences or tainted essence. The scroll is stamped with the seal of Dunred Row and signed by both Penhelm and Curran. Okay. Let's just wait for this Justiciar to move on.
Keeping quiet.
The Blacksmith Knights, a short history of the Crucible, of the Knights of the Crucible.
I'll get it open. Finished.
Some more armor. Edict of Arrest. This edict calls for the arrest of Aeon, whose recent actions have led to the death of a Knight of the Crucible. It requests reporting any information to Justiciar Aldmar, and it is signed Commander Cleaver. Pretty sure that's the chap that was hiding in the sewers that I let go. So I don't think that edict is going to be of any use anymore. Wheeler's pretty hard on all the novitiates. Who is Wheeler? Must be your commanding officer or trainer. Ah, Wheeler. Or Weiler. We need to deal with Heritage Hill. What's wrong with Heritage Hill? The Justiciar's gaze flicks over to you briefly before returning to the novitiates gathered in the training area. If this is about patrols, my novitiates are already stretched to their limit. Between the refugee influx and the mess at Heritage Hill, I simply don't have any units to spare. After a pause, she looks over at you again. I'm sorry. Was there something else you need? What do you do here? I'm in charge of the Keep's novitiates. I'm responsible for their training and patrol assignments. She nods at the group gathered in the training room. They're good soldiers, and they've been quick to adapt to new challenges. If there's nothing else, I must attend to my duties. Well, you mentioned Heritage Hill. What's wrong with Heritage Hill? She lowers her voice. What isn't wrong is the real question. A whole district of walking, flesh-eating corpses. We sealed the area 2 months ago, just after I lost one of my finest commanders there. And yet this is the second guard rotation to disappear. There are already enough rumors about the place floating around the keep without my soldiers whispering about these disappearances. She shakes her head. Ugh. I'd just as soon abandon the district, but if those monsters should find a way out... Tell me about Heritage Hill. Used to be one of the most prestigious districts in Defiance Bay, but a few months ago the residents all went mad, started eating each other, and anything else that had the bad luck to wander into the district. I've never seen anything like it. Now every novitiate that stands guard there, every one that comes back anyway, talks of the stench of the grave and the groans of unspeakable horrors. She holds up one plate-clad finger. The why and the how are questions for the Animancers. I've sealed the district in hopes of containing whatever happened there. It seems to be working, for now. You said earlier that something was wrong at Heritage Hill? Yes. Well, I could look into it. She steps back and regards you. After what I've just told you, you want to go to Heritage Hill? I've lost trained soldiers there. Why should I let anyone in? Well, that'll give me negative reputation and is aggressive, so I don't think I'll say that. Yeah, you've got nothing to lose. If you're so eager to rush to your death, I won't stop you. She quietly looks on at the novitiates. And if you're somehow able to put a stop to this... Well, you've got my permission to enter Heritage Hill. I'll send word to the guards at the gate. Alright. Wasn't aware they weren't letting me in. Any news from Heritage Hill? No, I'm still looking into it. I will report to you when I have something. I guess I didn't actually try to enter Heritage Hill, so perhaps the guards didn't comment for that reason.
I'll take a look.
Okay. Nothing in the altar. This is the symbol of Abaddon, a colossal smithing hammer imposed over a circular gear. It's smooth and bright with buffing oils. We haven't gone into this room yet.
Margren's fire casts light.
This
in
painting
dark
shows a
places.
row of warriors standing atop the walls of Defiance Bay, while Adira ships sail away.
Let's see what lies
Okay.
this way.
Alright, we've explored everything then except the war room here.
We just don't have the manpower.
Manpower, eh?
Refugees from every corner of the Deerwood. The dozens getting them all riled up about animancy. At this rate, we'll need twice the soldiers to patrol Defiance Bay. Yes? Can I help you with something?
Commander Cleaver stands in front of a massive table, studying a map. His expression is set in a grim frown. He opens his mouth to say something to one of his men, but he follows the soldier's gaze over his shoulder to you. Yeah, so the dozens, yeah, that's right, the dozens are all anti-animancy, which I don't think I agree with as a cipher, I have to say. But I don't know if I like these Crucible Knight fellows either. You're in charge of the Crucible Knights? Here in Defiance Bay, anyhow. The High Justice is the leader of our order, but he's currently stationed at Fleetbreaker Castle. My job is to oversee our forces in Defiance Bay, and to keep order for the Duke. Was there something else I can do for you? Yeah, tell me about the Knights. He crosses his hands behind his back. We're the only professional army in Defiance Bay, or in the Deerwood for that matter. We defended the city in Hadrit's day. We've improved our training since then, but Dunrid Row can certify that many of our officers come from good Deerwooden fighting stock. Now, we're responsible for patrolling the city and keeping the peace. With so many refugees pouring in from the countryside, that's becoming more important than ever. Unfortunately, that's earned us enemies, particularly among the dozens and some of the more enterprising families in Defiance Bay. What do the dozens have against you? He snorts. They're demagogues and troublemakers. They forget that Defiance Bay is one of the largest cities in the world, and not some frontier outpost. Most of them are mercenaries on a good day, and street thugs the rest of the time. Needless to say, they've no patience for law and order. And what about these enterprising families? House Dominel, namely. They're one of the city's oldest noble families, and its largest criminal organization. Their patriarch, Gedmar, has been trying to take advantage of the turmoil to expand his operations. We've kept on top of him, and he hasn't been too happy about that. I see. And why don't you have enough soldiers?
Fleetbreaker Castle. The High Justice has summoned almost half of my novitiates, and more of my justiciars to a keep on the other side of New Haomar. It's not for me to question the High Justice's orders, but it's left us short-handed. And mark me, we're just a couple sparks away from anarchy.
Frustration flickers behind his eyes. Earlier, for a second, he looked as if he wouldn't say anything, but he surrendered his resolve with a sigh before telling us about Fleetbreaker Castle. Yeah, maybe I can help. I'll get a little bit of reputation with them, not a bad thing. With so many newcomers, can't you just recruit more soldiers? Yeah, maybe I can help. He gives you a thin smile. Always refreshing to meet someone who'd rather fix a problem than complain about it. Forge Master Dunstan is working with an animancy scholar to build what we're calling Forge Knights. Warriors that can patrol our streets without suffering fatigue, disobedience, or fear. Some agitator throws a rock at him, we don't have to worry about things getting out of hand. He's constructed the armor, but we need the scholar's research. Unfortunately, she hasn't been around the last few times that my novitiates checked in. Or have checked, rather. Viana lives with the rest of the Scriveners out in Copper Lane, but I haven't the soldiers to spare at the moment. Go to the Scriveners' dormitory and see if you can find her. When you get the research, just bring it to Dunstan. This is his area of expertise anyway. Once you've brought him the research, he can sell you any arms or armor if you have need. He forges and repairs all of our equipment. You won't find a more capable smith in Defiance Bay. Right, okay.
Laying low.
Don't know if I want to align with the Crucible Knights. This document estimates the flow of refugees over the past 3 months. The figures grow by the week. This map shows the environs surrounding Defiance Bay. Flags mark strategic access points to the city.
I'll get it open. Finished.
Oh, I should be careful. I think I'm still technically spotted. Okay, we can take it now, I think.
Yeah.
Development of a Crucible Knight Part 1, lower ranks, and an Edict of Arrest for Aeon. I already got that.
I've got it. Finished.
Alright, nothing else in there. But we can talk to,
Yes?
Yeah.
Hey.
to Adair.
Strange place for a shrine to Abidan, Crucible Keep. Maybe it made more sense at some point before it gathered all that dust. The only thing the Knights of the Crucible worship these days is the nobility, as far as I understand it.
I knew some soldiers who got recruited by the Knights after the war was over. They told me some about it. They get these young kids in there and they tell them about blacksmithing and about the revolution and about tradition. Talk about the golem like he created the Crucible Knights in his forge to go win Deerwood's independence. Then they join, and it turns out all any of those knights ever talks about is when are we going to get recognized as a real knighthood? When are we getting our titles and our land? Their High Justice just wants to be an earl. Says it's Abaddon's will. He's got a castle and an army. You wonder how long he'll wait before he starts a war over it, saying Abaddon told him to. And the nobles will respond that their gods told them that they're the only true nobles. Yeah, probably. Trouble with having all these gods is you've got to support You've got support no matter how dumb your ideas are. Maybe we had the right idea blowing some of them up. Less of them to hide behind. Yeah, that's true.
Huh?
Alright. Let's go investigate the other place in First Fires. You have anything to say? No. Okay.
Hey.
Oh, maybe. I wonder if we can speak to Penhelm again. Where was he? Was he in here? I think he was in here. Yeah, there he is. Alright.
Good day, stranger.
No. Can't say anything. Penhelm nods his meticulously groomed head. What brings you back to the keep? No, nothing. I've got your affidavit, though. I'm gonna find the truth. Alright. So, let's go to the Valian Embassy. Valian diplomat. Oh, it's daytime now, so there's a few more people wandering around. Being assigned to the embassy in Defiance Bay is an immense honor. Adam's Den might have work for someone of your background. It's not right. Regular folk like us should be allowed to attend to hearings. You do know there's not enough space in there for everybody, right? The legacy, when will it end? All I'm saying is, where's our representative? Who's speaking for the common folk? What are you guys talking about? Another ship lost, a Valiant merchant vessel, dashed against the merciless rocks. No survivors. Still, Ondris Beacon lies dormant, its doors barred to all. The waters claim many souls this season. Even the most daring of adventurers must keep up their strength. Just want to have a look around, see if there's any NPCs to talk to. We demand to see the Duke. He's busy. Settle down or you'll feel the back of my blade. If Animensis caused the legacy, they have a lot to answer for.
Keeping quiet.
That's to Heritage Hill, isn't it? Dunstan's as gifted an armor as you'll find in the city. Oh, maybe we actually have to go to Heritage Hill. Maybe there's a gate on the other side or something. Anyway, let's go to the Valiant Embassy. Let's get dinner at the Charred Barrel tonight. I can't. The trade agreement with Fleetbreaker Castle fell through. Need to come up with some revisions by morning. You have business with the Republics? Maybe.
And what does the flame reveal?
Calvin raked. Okay.
Laying low.
These postings show current prices for a range of commodities, and they track the running exchange rate for the Valian Lush. Don't think I'll be able to get away with stealing that one. When Vicent Agosti is right there. I thought it was Vincent, but it's not.
Hello.
Vicente Agosti. What can this humble servant of the Republics do for you? Tell me about the Valiant Republics. They are rich in all ways, in wealth, in style, in culture. If you were to go to the Republics, you would not want to leave. Why would you? The people are beautiful and charming. I am here because the Sangreta Ducala wishes it. But when my appointment is done, I will be on the first ship out, and I will sing from here to Salona. If there's nothing else, I must return to my duties. And what do you do here? As the Valian ambassador, my job is to ensure trade with the Deerwood remains strong and profitable. Okay. You're a bureaucrat. A trade bureaucrat, no
Light,
less.
flame, and sound. We'll keep to
Local
ourselves.
politics only matter if they disrupt the flow of trade. Selected correspondences of Giftbringer Iden.
I'll get it open. Finished.
And cool. There's nothing at the back there, is there? No. Okay.
Let's see what lies this way.
Spread across the table are the blueprints of an in-progress trade deal between a merchant company from the Republics and a Deerwooden Weir Wool Collective.
I'll get it open. Finished.
Obsidian lamp figurine. One per rest. This lamp seems to swallow light, showing no reflection upon its surface. It's cold to the touch, and when held to one's ear, a quiet susurrus can be heard. The lamp is sealed with a piece of cork, on which a single rune is inscribed. Summons 3 shades. That's pretty useful. The flag depicts the symbol of the Valiant Republics, a ship sailing beneath 5 radiant stars. Alright, so there's no one here. Maybe they're all at the Ducal Palace. So let's go there.
Yes?
Just wonder if we
That's
can...
right. Between the 6 of us, I don't think the house has known a
Right.
single day's quiet. Of course, a little chaos makes it far easier to get away with mischief.
Oh, I think Aloth had just asked Kana if he had 5 siblings. And Kana confirmed it.
Aye.
Okay, alright. No new dialogue on that front. So I wonder if Duran says any new dialogue.
What?
An unfortunate mishap. A young lad has lost several fingers whilst toying with a sharpened blade. Let this be a cautionary tale to those with little ones at home. Perhaps a wooden sword is a wiser gift. I think that's probably the kid that we gave that dagger to, the March Steel dagger.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
No, that's all I wanted to discuss.
What? If doubts and
Yeah, tell me more about Ashfall. Okay, I think he's already... I think we've done all of Durance's dialogue. Alright, let's enter the palace. Sidley, welcome to the Ducal Palace.
Well met, friend.
The young woman wears a simple but well-tailored uniform. She watches the comings and goings around her with quiet attention. Any news to share? Or are you just here to see the Ducal Palace? What's the Ducal Palace? It's the seat of government here in Defiance Bay. This is where Duke Admeth Hadrit declared freedom from Adiran rule some 150 years ago. She lowers her voice and grins. It's also a hotbed of regional politics. Trust me, the gossip here beats what you'll find in any tavern or brothel in the city. Ah, Deerwood politics. It changes too quickly to be worth keeping up with. Better to strike up conversation in the taverns than try to loiter inconspicuously in the palace corridors. Looking for news? Yeah, who are you? I'm a page here at the palace. I deliver messages and run errands for the Duke and his advisors. The pay's not great, but I can't think of a better introduction to politics. And what goes on in here? She laughs. Where to start? We've got meetings, public hearings, and ceremonies, and that's just the stuff that happens out in the open. She leans a little closer. This is where the Duke and his key advisors work, so there's always someone bartering for a favor. Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to talk about that side of things. But if you want the official version, she clears her throat and gestures counterclockwise around the palace. We have a shrine devoted to Magrin, official records, and chambers for public hearings and council meetings. Tell me about the Shrine of Magrin. It's a symbol of Magrin's protection of Defiance Bay. She's represented the revolutionary spirit of the Deerwood ever since independence, and her involvement in creating the Godhammer bomb only affirmed her importance to us. She scratches her neck. That's also where the first of the sacred fires burn, but Firga, the tranquil ardent, has had trouble keeping them lit. And what kind of records are stored here? Mostly dull official stuff, census counts, tax records, militia registers. Now I keep my distance. I got curious one day and got drafted into reshelving half of the records. She yawns. Worst day of my life. Is there a hearing going on right now? Sure is. Duke Avar's been meeting with some of the city leaders for weeks now, trying to figure out how to address the legacy. The whole business is terribly secret, though. I tried to sit in the gallery during my lunch break one day and got turned away. She sniffs. But a lot of the talk concerns animancy, so there's good reason they're keeping the meetings behind closed doors. The legacy? Widewind's legacy. That's what a lot of people call the rash of Hollowborn. The theory goes that it's punishment for meddling in animancy. And why is animancy so controversial? She laughs. Where to begin? Traditionalists think it's a crime against the gods. There's no question that poking around in souls is risky, but the more progressive elements believe it's our only shot at restoring healthy births. And it doesn't help matters that animancy research often involves old Angwithan relics that were illegally looted from ruins in Erglanfath. She makes a quick twitching motion with her index and middle fingers. And what are the Hollowborn? She raises an eyebrow. You really are fresh from the road. Hollowborn are children born without souls. They often don't live for very long, and those that do have generally received some kind of treatment from the animancers. And what do you think about animancy? Me? I think the real danger of animancy is confusing a real scholar with an expensive fake. We get a new case here every day. Some poor couple in the Gift or Copper Lane who spent every copper they had on a miracle cure for their unborn child. It never works. She shakes her head. Breaks your heart. But there's usually nothing we can do for them. I see. Anyway, the legacy is what the politicians have all been whispering about lately. I'd like to talk about something else. Of course, I've always got my ear to the ground. Well, tell me about the current Duke. That would be Avar Wolfgren. Don't let the title fool you, though. Our dukes have been elected since independence. Some find Duke Avar rather coarse. He's a frontier noble. Personally, I think a rough-and-tumble type is just what Defiance Bay needs. Alright, well, thank you. Goodbye.
Keeping quiet.
Let's explore. That's the meeting hall. We'll go there later. Let's explore around the place a bit. And that must be an exit to First Fires.
And what does the flame reveal?
And this is Magrin's shrine. Most bright Magrin, transform us with your flame. A stone figure of a warrior gazes toward her raised hand. It's empty, but the palm and fingers are blackened. Anything around here? Nope. Okay.
Good
Firga.
day, stranger.
The woman's head is bowed as her lips move in prayer. Just as you approach, you catch her glimpsing at the statue near her. She notices you and forces a smile. Praise be to Magrin, and welcome to her temple. How may I be of service? Temple? I thought this was a palace. It's both, really. It's the palace from which Duke Avar governs, but it's also a place of honor and worship for Magrin, the goddess who led us to independence and who has always watched over our city. Her smile falters. You seem upset. What's wrong? Her shoulders slump. This is about the fires, isn't it? She puts a hand on your shoulder. They're just symbols. You can't put your faith in them. Only symbols? Is that why you're so distressed? No, I just... She sighs with a hiss like a release of steam. I've kept them burning steadily for 15 years, but I haven't been able to conjure them for months now, and people need to see them more than ever these days. What does that mean? It's my devotions and prayers that keep them lit, but lately when I try to pray, all I can think about are the Hollowborn all over the city, the grieving families, the refugees. She shakes her head. How could Magrin allow us to suffer like this? What strength do we gain from a soulless child? Durrance grunts with disdain. What strength do we gain from adversity, from trial and test? The fires don't wither because she lacks in faith. They wither because she does not understand how to be faithful to a whore. A whore wants neither praise nor devotion. A whore wants to be compensated for her services, and Magrin is paid and pleasured in sweat and struggle and pain. This mewling imbecile is unworthy of Magrin's womanly heat. And this has shaken your faith? She nods, running her hands through her hair. But I believe Magrin may be speaking to me again. She frowns and casts a quick glance in your direction. This will likely sound so far-fetched to someone like you. Lately, I've been seeing visions. A place in the wilderness with pools filled with sunbursts of color. Strange falls that seem to rise to the heavens even while they splash into the earth. She raises her hands as if framing an image of her vision. And behind the falls is a cave, filled with fire and heat and danger, and some token of my goddess. I know there's something there, but where it is, or how I'd get there? She shakes her head. I've been meaning to ask around at the expedition hall to see if anyone recognizes the description. To be honest, though, I don't know what I'd do even if I found the place. Worthless. like so many of Magren's flock, afraid of her god's tests. If Magren speaks to her, it is to hasten an end to a hypocrite's life, and this vision is surely a death trap for the weak. What's the significance of the sacred pyres? They symbolize Magren's power and guidance, and right now the people of Defiance Bay need to be assured of her presence. She crosses her arms, staring at the statue. Our neighbors in the Valian Republic see us as superstitious, but we're just sensitive to the signs and warnings of the gods. Something else? I'd like to know more about the temple here. Magren is the most revered goddess among us Deerwoodens, so it's no surprise that her temple is part of the ducal palace. Her fires symbolize trials, revolutions, and the blazing of new paths, all of which are important to us. She gestures to the statue. This is the first of the sacred pyres. When this is lit, so are the rest around the city. Okay, goodbye.
Good day to you.
Fidiga nods. May you be guided and tempered by the flame. Are you still having the visions of the falls? Her voice is low and quiet. Yes, end of the cave, and something within, some small bright ember of faith guarded by a terrible danger. I only wish I could go myself. She turns a guilty gaze on the statue. Okay. Don't think I'll be able to
I'll take a look.
nab that one. That requires a key. You may not enter the audience chamber while council is in session without an invitation. So many refugees come here fleeing the legacy. I doubt they realize that it struck us too. Records keeper. He's got good vision. Or perhaps I've got bad stealth.
Hey.
Adira's got better stealth. Excerpts from the Sermon of Struggle, those lost in the flood. Alright, let's speak to the record keeper then.
Hail and well met.
A taciturn man with greying hair pores over a tome he's just withdrawn from one of the shelves. He glances up at you with baggy eyes. Yes? Is there something I can pull for you? I'm looking for militia records from the time of the Saints' War, trying to find out what happened to someone. The man clears his throat. We've had a number of inquiries about such information. I'm afraid we've had to bar access to the public. Seems there are still quite a number of folk in Deerwood who bear ill will to Woodred Sarans. It would be irresponsible to surrender their names to just anyone. Many came to settle here as refugees. Perhaps if you were more established in Defiance Bay, things would be different, but I have no reason to suspect you to be any different from the others. Perception 17. There is something peculiar about the records keeper's inflection. The differences are subtle, but it does not sound like any native Deerwooden you've heard. Yeah, take what I want. The records keeper frowns. In the Duke's palace? I can assure you that you do not. Besides, without my assistance, you'd be sifting through scrolls for years. Well, we've come a long way. I just need to find out about my brother. I don't even know what side he fought for. You must understand, I have heard many such stories. I'm afraid there is nothing I can do for you. All right, farewell.
Hail and well met.
Just looking around. Adair frowns at you and slaps his forehead, but says nothing. Okay. Well, we can't do anything, Adair, until we get a bit more of a reputation in the city, so I'm afraid that's the end of it. Only people with official invitations are allowed to observe the Animancy hearings. Alright, so that's the extent of what we can do here then. Fair enough. Well, we've met the knights, we've met... well, we've been to the Valian embassy. gone to the Ducal Palace, gone to Copper Lane. Haven't yet gone to Heritage Hill, and haven't yet gone to the Temple of Whitaker properly, but we can do that. But I think first we'll do Brackenbury and then Ondra's Gift. So let's go to Brackenbury, I suppose. Take 15 minutes to get there. Alright. So this is Brackenbury. That's a lot of Ardra. Alright, we might leave it there for now, and we'll pick it up in the next episode, where we continue with our adventures. But thanks for joining me. As always, if you're enjoying this campaign, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.